This event, we are it is being recorded. I just got a notification in progress. My name is Morgan Scholes, and I am the Director of Partnerships and Programs with Startup Junkie Foundation in Northwest Arkansas. We're letting people into this event, and we will continue to do that for the next, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes. So in the meantime, just know that we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. And then also following this event, we will send an email with just kind of a recap of some things and then some contact information if you need to follow up with anyone who facilitated this event today. Finally, we'll also be recording this event and posting it on our YouTube page and on our archive of recorded events. So any information that you get will be available to you moving forward as well. So again, we're going to just continue to let folks in. Welcome, welcome. I still can't believe that Zoom has not figured out a way to partner with Spotify or something and have some like background music, some elevator music while we're waiting.
Happy to sing in the background if you would prefer me to.
I was gonna ask for volunteers, and Caleb, that'd be great. Take it away. Somehow I feel like that wasn't a sincere offering.
Oh no,
All right. Well, I hope everybody's having a good Thursday. In case it wasn't obvious from my background setting, I got a little stuck in transition, juggling that that fun reintegration between the virtual world and physical events. And so glad to be joining you from the inside of my car in Cave Springs right now. It's getting toasty. If you see me glistening, it's just rapture and joy. So, well, I think we've done enough small talk. Let's get started. Welcome everybody. Happy Thursday, Friday Eve, or Friday Junior, as it has already been called in the context of this conversation. My name is Morgan Scholes, and I'm the Director of Programs and Partnerships with Startup Junkie Foundation. If you're not familiar with Startup Junkie Foundation, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our mission is to improve lives by empowering entrepreneurship and innovation. There are several ways that we do that. The key measures being providing no-cost one-on-one consulting. So if you are starting a business or scaling a business, you want to add a new product line, add a new location, reach a new target customer segment. If you woke up this morning and you have a great idea about a revolutionary new project that's going to change the world, wherever you're at in your entrepreneurial support or your entrepreneurial journey, we're here to support you. And rather than meeting with a business consulting and then getting a $300 invoice at the end of that hour-long conversation, all of our services are always provided at no cost. So feel free to check out our website, startupjunkie.org. The other thing that we do, in addition to providing no-cost one-on-one consulting, again, from any stage of your entrepreneurial journey and any conceivable industry, is we facilitate a really high cadence of events that are designed to equip, educate, inspire, and support startups and small business owners. So today would be in the educate, equip, and inspire category. It checks a lot of boxes. And we are really excited to be highlighting this particular form of entrepreneurship, which is an in-home daycare. And there are there's a lot of interest in this, but more importantly, there's a lot of need. We are seeing a huge focus on building a more resilient and equipped workforce, and especially a huge emphasis on seeing more women entrepreneurs and women in business elevated into leadership positions in the workforce in the state of Arkansas. But a huge missing piece in that puzzle is the provision of quality, accessible childcare. And so this is a form of entrepreneurship, and this is also a form of supporting workforce development in our state. So it's a very important conversation, and we're so glad to have you all join us today. We have 4 speakers who will be joining us, and they are all incredible experts in the subject and leaders in childcare and early childhood education in the state and nation. So I'm going to start off with our first presenter, and this is Debbie Mays. I'll let her share her list of credentials, but I'll share a little personal anecdote, which is that Debbie was actually my neighbor for several years, and I had the joy of living next to her incredible in-home childcare facility. And I think that's where I learned all of the important lessons I need to know about life, from hearing the way that Debbie taught and supported
Looks like Morgan froze on us. Debbie, if you want to jump right in.
Sure, I will. And you guys can see why Morgan was one of my favorite neighbors. The joy that just comes from her is amazing. And I can tell you the story that she was about to tell you because she's told me. She said one day she was sitting in her living room and she heard me say, "Grayson, no matter how many times you try to open the door, if it's locked, it's not going to open." And she said, just those life lessons that you learn from a person that does family childcare next door. So I was really impacted by her sharing that with me because all I think about is them hearing the drums and the cymbals outside, right? So I'm so excited that Morgan found that a pleasant experience. My name is Debbie Mays, and I am from Siloam Springs up in Northwest Arkansas, and I have been a family childcare provider for more than 30 years. I love family childcare, and it's my passion, and I hope to be able to excite you about it today and educate you about how you too can become a family childcare provider. One of the main reasons that I believe in family childcare is I believe that young children, if they can't be in their own home, should be in a place that's as close to their own home environment as they can. And that would be what we do as family childcare providers. Family childcare has been around for a very long time. Back in the late 1960s is when women really started entering the workforce. And of course, they needed a place for their children to go. So they started sending their children to their relatives' house down the street or to neighbors' houses. And that's when family childcare was born. My first experience with family childcare was in Oscoda, Michigan. Was a young mom in my early 20s, living on an Air Force base, and I needed to help supplement our family's income. So I became a licensed family childcare home on an Air Force base, and that's when it all started. Since then, our profession has grown into a wonderful entrepreneur opportunity. I think a lot of people don't look at us that way. They don't look at us as a real business, but we are. There are literally tens of thousands of regulated childcare providers in the United States. We have our own supportive community locally, and you'll hear from Tammy and Elizabeth. Statewide, we've got those there, and even nationally with the National Association of Family Childcare. I went from being a 20-year-old girl in Oscoda, Michigan that just wanted to take care of a few kids in her home to being a model high-quality home. I've been funded by the state of Arkansas, and now I'm a nationally accredited family childcare home that grosses close to $100,000 a year. Who doesn't want to do that, right? From your own home. I did all that while living the dream that I started years ago, just wanting to supplement my family's income. In family childcare, we don't just enroll a child, we enroll a whole family. We help families to raise their children. And I got some information off the Arkansas Early Childhood Association website I'm going to share with you. Early childhood educators not only support brain development and school readiness, parents of 130,000 Arkansas children rely on our services to earn a living. Strong brains are built through reliable relationships, that's us, and stimulating play with loving adults, and that's where you come in. In Arkansas, 2 out of 3 children under the age of 5 live in homes where both parents work. Many Arkansas children spend 11,500 hours of their lives in childcare in the years before kindergarten. 11,500 hours before they start kindergarten. That's more time spent in early care and education settings than they'll spend in school from kindergarten through 9th grade. Let that soak in. Look how important the job that we do is. Birth to 5 years old is the most critical period of brain development for humans. It's a disservice not to maximize this time. Family childcare meets this need in such a normal and organic way. So let me tell you about my day. Each day I get up around 7, well, I get up earlier, but I open my door at 7:45 to 10 children between the ages of 3 and 5. The ages of 3 and 5 are my sweet spot, guys. Everybody has to find what works best with them. If you hand me a toddler, I'm going to be like, what am I going to do? So my sweet spot is 3 to 5 years old. Many providers, though, work longer hours than I do, and they have mixed stages of children. They are more equipped than I am. As I've gotten older, I've had to really draw my boundaries in there. I offer breakfast, morning snack, lunch, afternoon snack to my children. We play inside and outside. My playground is mostly loose parts and natural things, but other providers might have commercial equipment. Normal days are like any normal day in a home, except maybe just add a little bit of spice into that. There's probably a little bit more Play-Doh and a lot less TV. There's more paint and more storytelling. There are many, many right ways to be an amazing family childcare provider. Did I mention nap time? For 1 to 1.5 hours a day, the children are resting. And during that time, I can pick up my house, I can do laundry, I can even start supper. As a young mom, this gave me extra time in the evenings to spend time with my family. I make a very good living, and I get to support the future of our world in a very real and meaningful way. Sometimes I think about the things that the children do when they leave me and the people that they become and the changes that they make in the world that we are living in. And I just feel extremely blessed to be part of it. So I'm excited and happy to be a family childcare provider, and we hope that we can help you too. So next, I'm going to pass this to my friend, Elizabeth Scudder. Elizabeth is the director of the Arkansas Family Childcare Network at the University of Arkansas Early Care and Education Projects. Elizabeth, take it away.
Thank you for, it takes a village. It doesn't take a village just to raise kids. It takes a village to raise adults. Thank you, Debbie. I'm the newest member to this panel in the role that I'm in. I have been in early childhood 26 years this month, and it's hard to believe that it's been 26 years this month. But I've served in many capacities during that time period. My newest role at the University of Arkansas is the Family Childcare Network Advisor. And that gives me the opportunity to work with existing licensed homes, and then also to work with new homes that are trying to get licensed. And what we want to do is help them walk through a process that will let them see this lifestyle that Debbie just spoke to us about. I've been in her home. I've hung out with her during the day, and my grandson Dominic calls her Aunt Debbie, and he'll say, "Can I go play at Aunt Debbie's house today?" And he would, I think he would just move in with her, kind of like Morgan. He'd just move next door and hang out with Debbie all day long. He enjoys her play yard with loose parts and all those things. So we get to work with you as a licensed home or as a new incoming home. And that's a joy to us. We want to mentor you. We want to be there as a resource for you so that we can do the hard work for you and get you connected to the people that you need to be connected to. As Debbie said, the Family Childcare Network's under the umbrella of the Early Care and Education Project at the University of Arkansas, and was born from a dream that took a couple of years to unfold. We started in the midst of the pandemic back in July of 2020, and we haven't looked back since. We've just went full-fledged, and we are working to grow the network and to grow the number of homes in our state. I wrote notes so that I would not rabbit chase, because my friends will tell you I could talk all day long. So I wrote some notes so that I could stay on track. What the network does is we come alongside programs like my friends at Childcare Aware and my friends at the Northwest Arkansas Family Child Care Association and the Arkansas Early Childhood Association, and we come alongside all of these programs and navigate you as a licensed home to the right people that you need. So I call myself a network navigator or a connector of dots. I like, my dad told me many years ago, you never meet someone by accident. It's always going to be an opportunity for you to grow professionally, personally, or spiritually when you meet someone new. So we come along these programs and help meet specific needs. For example, my friend Michelle, her team does pre-licensing training. And so if you want to become a licensed home, you go through pre-licensing training. And once you go through the training, then Tammy and I come alongside you and help you become licensed and connected to the city entities that you will be working with, the food program, professional development, other local providers that can answer so many questions for you, your local chamber of commerce to access their resources. The list is endless, but we've already done the hard work. We've made the list. So we know who to connect you to so that you aren't wondering what comes next. The network conducts monthly meetings or trainings for our providers that consist of professional development that will also meet a need or a requirement for licensing or the quality rating system or marketing your own product, growing yourself professionally, and so on. We have 3 goals. The Family Child Care Network has 3 goals: to increase the number of licensed family child care homes in Arkansas, increase the level of quality in those child care homes, and to increase the number of infant and toddler slots across the state. The child care landscape in the United States, as you know, including Arkansas, continues to evolve with more emphasis on quality than ever before. Research is providing greater insight into the importance of the quality of care that children receive in early childhood settings. As Debbie said, the first 5 years are critical to optimal growth and development, and we cannot just sit by and do nothing. We have to show you what right looks like so that the children have the greatest opportunity to become all that they can be. And studies show that family child care providers affiliated with some sort of support group like the Family Child Care Network offer higher quality care than those that are not. Everything we do at the Family Child Care Network works to meet these 3 goals. At present, the Family Child Care Network is working with about 136 programs across the state to help them meet their goals. We search for grants that will help give us the resources, or, the real word, money, to provide the tools that are needed to enhance what educators are already doing. For example, again, I'll use my friends here on the panel. Childcare Aware received a grant to provide air purification systems in Washington and Benton County. I took their lead and their information, work smarter, not harder, right? And I was able to provide an additional 80 machines across the state to the providers outside of Washington and Benton County, so that those children also received better air quality in the homes that they were being cared for in, which in turn does what? Increases the level of quality in the home. So we work together in so many different ways. I have a saying that I say all the time. It's #stronger together. When we link arms and we walk together, it's pretty hard to break that link or that chain. But what we don't want to happen is we don't want you as a provider to be out there isolated, because the number one reason nationally that family child care home providers stop caring for children in their home is isolation. They don't have a support system to help them grow and just have somebody to talk to. It's important for us to have people to talk to so that we can share ideas, bounce things off of different people so that we can do the best for ourselves and for the children that we care for. Some of the other services that we offer is environmental setup assistance or ideas, reviews for updates on your policy handbooks and your parent contracts, support in keeping your program full, business practices, networking events so that you don't feel isolation in this profession, because we are a friendly bunch. We really like to hang out together. We really like to network. We like to see you grow and be successful in what you do. We also offer on-site and group coaching. In other words, if we were all sitting on a panel together today in the same room, and we were all in a row here together, I would say each of us, and I would point to each one of us in the panel, want to help you to be successful in starting your own business and being your own boss. I'm honored to work with these wonderful friends, and I can't wait to work with you guys to help you grow your family childcare home in Arkansas. And with that, I will introduce my friend, Tammy Rowland. Tammy is with the Northwest Arkansas Family Childcare Association, and she is full of knowledge. Oh, and by the way, all three of these friends of mine serve on the Family Childcare Network Advisory Council. So we spend lots of time together and work together in many, many ways. So with that, Tammy, take it away.
Thank you. I was a little nervous when you said Tammy was full of, but then you finished with knowledge. So thank you very much for that, because I was a little nervous there for a minute. But I'm Tammy Rowland, and as Elizabeth said, I'm the administrator of the Northwest Arkansas Family Child Care Association. I'll go over a little bit more about what that means here in just a little bit, but I want to first talk about, I get to tell the nuts and bolts, the part that tells you the process of becoming a family child care home. They got to tell you all the fun, cool stuff. I get to tell you the nuts and bolts. So I'm going to be honest, the process can appear to be just slightly daunting. You're going to go online, you're going to pull off a 72-page booklet that talks about words like alternate compliance and appeals and provisionary license, and it's got rules, and more rules. But luckily, you know all of us. And like Elizabeth said, we take it down and we make it kind of like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. So all you have to do is not reinvent the wheel. You just come to us and we'll help you through it. So first, let's see if you even qualify to become a family child care provider. Are you at least 21 years of age or older? Do you have a high school diploma or a GED? Can you pass a child maltreatment, an FBI fingerprint, and Arkansas State criminal background check? Inside the minimum licensing book, it actually has the list of the crimes that will disallow a person from becoming a family child care home. If you live in a manufactured home that was constructed prior to June of 1976, or if you're in a single wide mobile home that has the outside metal walls or the metal roofs, you cannot have a family child care home inside those facilities. So now that we see that you're qualified, let's talk about zoning. Elizabeth jumped on that just a little bit. So let me be general about it, because every single city and county has different regulations about what they will allow as a home-based business. So that's your first step. You've got to go to your city or your county and see what they require or even what they will allow. And I'll give you an example. In the big cities up here in Northwest Arkansas, like Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, you're required to go in front of the planning department and get what's called a conditional use permit. Now, Fayetteville just actually passed a regulation just recently. We're hoping the others will follow suit, that if you keep 5 or less children inside your home, you actually don't even have to do that anymore. Now, the minute you get that 6th child, you are required to get the conditional use permit. And but that saves you a little bit of time and some money too. Now, a lot of the smaller towns like Siloam Springs, Bird Grove, Lincoln, they only require you to do an application online at the city. They don't require you to do any kind of extra conditional use permits. Now that you know what your town will allow or what your county allows, The next thing you have to consider is what kind of home do you want? You've heard us use the word licensed. You've heard me use the word regulated. There's actually two kinds of family childcare homes. There's a registered home that will allow you to keep 5 children inside your home. Basically, the regulations are pretty close to the same as licensed, but if you wanted to keep all infant toddlers, that gives you an opportunity to not worry about the ratios, because you can keep whatever age children, but you can only keep 5. Now, the minute you get that 6th child, or if you just decide you want to become licensed, you can be a licensed family childcare home and keep up to 16 children in your home, as long as you have enough usable space. Most of our homes, though, are licensed for around 10. If you get more than 10 in your home, you are going to be required to meet health regulations in addition to licensing regulations. And almost all cities that I know, I haven't seen a city that does not require a fire inspection. So that's something that you will need to do also. Now, after you've decided those steps, pretty simple, you're well on your way to becoming a family childcare home. Like Elizabeth mentioned, you're going to be taking a pre-occupational training with Child Care Aware from Michelle's going to be talking here in a minute. And it will go through the steps, actual steps of filling out the application and what you need to do from there. You're going to be looking at your inside and your outside environment, which Elizabeth once again said that they come on site and help you with those. Debbie was talking about her inside and outside environment. You're going to be considering health and safety for your business, taking pediatric CPR and first aid. You're going to assemble an evacuation kit and develop a plan of action for emergency situations. You're going to put together a policy and contract that, once again, the Family Childcare Network will help you with business practices that will protect you and give you solid business practices. Then you're going to market your business, and you're going to begin to fill your home with these precious children and families. You'll be able to support, educate, and prepare them for the future. And I can tell you that is the most rewarding position that you can ever have, is a family child care home provider. I say this from experience because I too, like Debbie, was a family child care home for over 20 years. I wanted to stay home with my children and needed to make a little extra money to supplement my income. And I had planned on going back to a real job as soon as my children went to school. But what I realized is the support that I receive and the value that I feel being a home provider offered me so much more than the years that I was a marketing director outside in the career world. I would still be doing childcare today. I promise you, I'd be doing it till the day they put me in my grave. But I made a hard choice to help my family and stay home and take care of my 99-year-old father. So this job that I have now with the association provides me that opportunity. I'm actually here at home right now in my home office, and it provides me the flexibility, because what I do with the Northwest Arkansas Family Child Care Association, it's a 45-year-old association that takes care of 4 counties, providers in 4 counties, Washington, Benton, Madison, and Carroll County. Our mission is to increase quality inside childcare home by providing support, training, and sponsoring the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The CACFP, which is the Child and Adult Food Program, is a federal program that provides nutrition education and meal reimbursement that helps providers serve nutritious and safely prepared meals and snacks to children inside family childcare homes, or in a matter of fact, in centers also. On an average month, a provider who cares for between 8 and 10 children, serving a breakfast, lunch, and 1 snack will be reimbursed between $750 to $900 for their food. Now, I know I've given you a lot, and I know your head's probably spinning, but what I want you to remember the most is that even though there is a lot, there's more of us that can actually help you. They care about this business and they care about you. You're never alone in the early child care field. You have a support crew and you have peers that are there with you for everything you face professionally. And as you've heard from my friends here, a lot of times personally, all you have to do is ask. So With that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Wynn. She is with Childcare Aware of Northwest Arkansas. That we work really closely together, like Elizabeth was talking, because they meet a lot of the needs that our family child care providers need at a time that most places won't offer things. So I'm going to let Michelle tell you about them.
Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate that. Again, I'm Michelle Wynn, and I'm with the Childcare Aware office. We are a resource here in the community, helping families find childcare, providing parent education, and also professional development for our early childhood providers in schools here in the community. So when you're looking for care, we're that one-stop shop that we want to be able to help our business leaders and communities. So just like everyone's talking about the marketing part and how we all partner together, yes, all these people on this panel is definitely my friends, and we partner together. And we want these businesses to be successful in our community. So this is what it takes, having these teams and working together. I cover 17 counties. So when families look for childcare or working with providers in that area, we are here to be that resource and help them. Like some of the ladies have mentioned, one of the things that we do to start off with your business is that pre-license training. So currently it's on Zoom, and you can go to our website at nwachildcare.org, and we will be glad to connect you with any of our upcoming trainings and the pre-license. And another thing that's very interesting, that throughout the state, you have a lot of these great partners too. So if you're not in our 17 counties, that there's other childcare aware offices that you can contact, and you can ask them about the pre-license or what's resources, what's grants, CPR, all these training opportunities. There's also resources you can check out from the centers, lending library. We have training rooms. So we want to be that place too, that they can come here and feel comfortable setting up their business. I mentioned some of our training too. So, you know, from the CPR, behavior guidance, partnering with the other agencies on this call too, is just figuring out what are the needs for our providers too, and looking at too that when they're starting their business, what's the needs of the business community also. A lot of times they have that passion to open the business, and they were like, okay, but I don't know what hours, and I love kids. And the nice thing is, when we are hosting them face to face, we bring in those partners. We bring pre-license. We bring in the Family Child Care Association. We'll bring in Elizabeth. We bring you here. I joke a lot of times in my training and say, these ladies and gentlemen, or whoever's at my meeting, these are going to be your new best friend. That you need to know these people, and that when you ask, I don't know how many kids, or I have this building and I have concerns and I want to buy the building, I'm like, you need to talk to pre-license, or you have concerns with the food program. A lot of times, just like all of us, and that's where I think our strengths come in as talking about the partnership, is you're not alone. So I think if we can continue to tell you how important it is in that joining Arkansas Early Childhood Association, joining the Family Child Care Association, and just that networking, that there's providers who are walking your same steps every day, working with children, working with families, starting up their business too, that we are glad to give you those connections. Other things we do too, we provide local conferences. So if you're in our area, we usually have a couple conferences, or we just encourage just the other networking and conferences that are going around throughout the state, just to be a part of that network too, how important it is. Another thing too, that the Child Care Aware office, we have a database. So I mentioned when families call looking for childcare, we can be your one-stop on marketing. So you're able to tell us, I have openings for infant, toddler, or I have a waiting list, any of these type of things. And so we're able to rely back out to the community. And when I'm in the community talking to businesses and talking about that childcare is essential, that we need families to be able to go back to work. And the need right now is infant and toddler, or, you know, whatever the need is in the community, that when we're able to work with our providers and keeping our database up to date, that we're able to market our local providers and say, these are the providers that have openings, and that we can work with them too. just staying a connection. I think the biggest thing too is being here for our businesses and community and letting them know how important childcare is, and that as all of us work together, and when you want to start a business or you know anyone interested in starting your business, know that you have a team here and that we're ready to work with you. And we're glad to start from step 1 and step 2 and just go through the process and building the connections and getting you started. So anything, Michelle Wynn with the Childcare Aware office that we can do to be a resource and help you get your business started, I would be glad to talk to you more, or share the resources in the community, or even a county that we don't cover. We can tell you what other Childcare Aware offices or what agencies are available to get you started to be a successful business. Thank you.
All right, so Morgan is not back with us just yet, but I'm going to open it up for Q&A. We've got a few questions in the chat already, so I'll start there. And question for any of our panelists, feel free to drop it in the chat box below. But I will, let me scroll up. We've had a few. Martha from the Startup Junkie team asked, as a business consultant, if I have a client wanting to start a home childcare business with excuse me, I can't speak today. Which of you all should they start with?
I'd say Elizabeth or myself, according to where they're at. Elizabeth does statewide. I do the 4 county areas.
Awesome. And let's see here.
Will they be getting all of our contact information, Caleb?
We'll include that in an email. So what we'll do is everybody that's registered for the event, we'll send out this recording to all of them so they can review, and we'll drop y'all's contact information in there as well, if that's okay with y'all. Let's see. We've got some back and forth Q&A there. Rashonda Young asked, I recently purchased a building to start a licensed childcare home. I need some support with information about fire and health inspection. I have a list of things that health department to do to pass the inspection. This includes an upgrade of kitchen appliance. She needs guidance in that area.
Rashonda, where are you located?
She's in Hope.
Hope. Michelle, wouldn't you say we need to connect her with Terry Helms? Or would that, is that her area, or is that, we'll find out. We'll get you connected. Rashonda, if you will put your email address in the chat box, we will find some connections for you down in that area.
I saw some back and forth there in the chat with some questions asked, and anybody wants to unmute and ask a question, feel free to do so. Michaela asks, can you tell me the benefits of FCC rather than opening a center, other than having the children being in a home-based setting?
I'll answer that one for Michaela. I had dinner with two owners yesterday that are also directors of their centers. And I actually, we talked about the financial side of it, and they were blown away by the amount of money that I make. And it's not always like that. I've done this for a lot of years, but financially, usually you're better off. Not only do you make more money because you're the owner of a smaller setting, your expenses are lower. And then also you have to take into consideration that many of the expenses of your home, the normal operating expenses such as electric, gas, water, all of that becomes a shared expense, and you get to claim it on your taxes. So overall, it's just a really good financial decision. I think the fact that the children are in a home setting far outweighs the financial side, just because I think it's best for children. But if you want to look at the other sides, financial, it's a big one. I would rather do this for the amount of money I make than operate a center and make half of that and have to worry about, the employee side of it and all of the liability.
There's much more paperwork involved with the center too. I know that one of the family child care providers that I know that opened a center, I think she really regrets it, because now instead of working with the children, she's spending lots of time trying to take care of the administrative end of having employees and making sure all of that is done. And there is a lot more paperwork.
We've had several providers that have actually left homes because they had waiting lists and felt like they could do, a really good job having centers, and actually within a few years actually come back into family child care for all those reasons that Debbie and Rita talked about. I myself inside family child care home had a 10, I was licensed for 10 and rented a building and upped it to 16, and actually found out I made less money keeping 16 than I did with 10 because my overhead was so much higher than like Debbie said, inside your home. They're the expenses you're going to have anyway. And so it made it where I made less money working harder with more hours. So
That's what I found out this year. I had been licensed for 16 with 2 staff, and I reduced it to 10 children, let the staff go, and came back in home. I actually am making about double the money I was making before.
I had at one point in my career, I operated 9 childcare centers in a nonprofit organization, had about 800 children, and the overhead, even in one of those, I had a small center in one community with 40 children and 4 staff members, and even the overhead in that facility, it overshadowed everything else that we did because we were trying to make sure that bills were paid. And so if you're starting out, I encourage you to consider family childcare home. I've been on both sides of the coin, and my children were raised in family childcare. Although I ran center-based programs, my children were in family childcare. That's where I wanted them. That's where they got their life skills. That's where they got their roots. And so Michaela, I just encourage you to stay the course with the family childcare. And after you've been in it a few years, if you think you might want to do something different, give us a call. We'll sit down and visit with you about that. Try to help you out in whatever capacity that you want. But I encourage you to consider staying in the lane you're in now.
Yeah. And I think too, Elizabeth, it's important to mention that family childcare homes, we have such a community of support that help us through every step of our journey. And I think center-based programs don't feel as supported because they don't have as many people pouring into them. So that's something to think about too, that we're not as competitive with each other as we might be if we were in larger centers.
Yeah, I mean, I can second that because I was that person. And there were days that I just wished I had a support system that I could reach out to and bounce ideas off of. So I absolutely agree with what Debbie just said.
Michaela said in the chat, thank you. I worked with FCC with 16 kids for 2 years before quitting to start my own. I'm currently running a license while, nope, it bumped, I missed it, while trying to figure out what I want to do. And Ayush, hey Ayush, how's it going? Sorry to get in here late, but I was curious if you guys can address a question. What are your thoughts on language-specific daycares, say like Mandarin Chinese or Hindi? Background for this question is that there is a sizable Indian population in Northwest Arkansas, and one of the common things I hear from my friends is the lack of opportunities to get their up with their parents' mother's tongue.
Can I answer that one? I would love to connect to you, sir. And I would like to talk to you about helping people in that community become a licensed family childcare home so that they can meet that need for their people. I'm working with some corporations right now, and that's what we're teaching them is to grow their own. Go out into your community, that whether it be your work community or your language community or whatever, and let's find those women that have the skills and have the ability to do this work, and let us help you grow your own to be able to meet that need. Because I had a lady that worked for me many years ago, and she had been in this country for 30 years. And she struggled with English the whole time I knew her. And so she did not want her children to grow up speaking her mother tongue. She wanted them to learn English. And guess what? When those children were adults, they enrolled themselves in Spanish speaking classes so that they could learn the mother tongue. And it was sad to me because she didn't see the value in that for them. And so we applaud that, and whatever we can do to try to help you with that, we will work with you to do that.
Yeah, Elizabeth, do you see his comment about work visas?
Sorry, so I just wanted to add to that. I was typing, and I can keep typing, but I just thought it would be easier. So hello everyone, I'm Ayush. I'm one of the co-founders of a startup based here in Arkansas, and I'm raising a multiracial daughter. My wife is half Chinese, Taiwanese, and half white, and I'm from India, and my daughter is now this mix of things. And one of the things that we try to do at home as parents is, try to keep our mother tongue, or at least because my parents are still in India, that's the language they speak, and of course they can understand English, but it's not a very common thing for them. And her parents, although they grew up here in the US and they are steeped in that, one of the things that, at least, when my wife and I talk, we reminisce is that wouldn't it be nice that, as we are becoming a more global, entity or community where people from all races are mingling now. And, when my daughter grows up and she is in her 20s, 30s, and, what kind of society would that be, and what language, or what understanding you need from different culture to empathize with different culture and, come to a working understanding with them. And that is something that, I've been looking around, and I've been trying to find something that will help give my daughter some background of where her parents come from, and go from there. And the reason why I bring this up is I have a few friends in San Francisco Bay Area, and there's a sizable Indian population, but there are these daycare options, or these school options where kids can go in and just get used to or acclimatized to where their parents are coming from. So I know this could be too much of a burden to place on the kids, like, oh, I grew up with one language and I want my kid to grow up with 3 languages. That's unrealistic. I get it. But still, I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are, considering you guys have been in the industry for so long.
The wiring window in the brain for a second language is 3 to 5. So now is the optimal time to be giving that language to your children. I applaud you. I just wish that I was told in the 9th grade that I would never learn to speak Spanish because my Southern drawl was too deep and I could not roll my R's. So I might as well just go to another class. That's what my teacher told me. And that's not the right thing to tell a child, but we encourage you to do that. But I don't know, let's put our heads together and see, maybe your wife or you could volunteer in one of our family childcare homes to teach that second language. What a collaborative partnership that would be. I'm just seeing all kinds of opportunity that we could work together to make that happen. And who knows, we might start a movement.
Yeah, we had an amazing home in Fayetteville, Mary Studebaker, that had a lot of Indian families. That was almost our whole client base, and she learned so much. She never learned the language, but she learned a lot about their culture, to the point that the parents came in a lot to help teach. She would go to their homes for dinner. It was amazing. So sometimes, even if there's a language barrier, you can learn. A quality setting provides that parent engagement, and includes their culture.
Yes.
But like Elizabeth, I think we should look at the work visa problems and see if there's something we can do to help someone in your community become an entrepreneur with Morgan and open their own family childcare home that specializes in Indian children. There is Casa Castillo, is that what it's called? In Bentonville, that is a Spanish immersion facility. So there's a model out there. So I think that we can help you with that.
And of
That would
course,
be
we
awesome.
have, we actually have two inside of our association, two Hispanic homes that are Spanish speaking. And that's one of the things when I went to the CACFP training in Little Rock, one of the comments that was made by the division down there was that with the culture up here in Northwest Arkansas, they wanted us to look into the different, you know, the Marshallese and the Laotian and the Indians and you know, all the different ones, and look to see what we could do to see if we couldn't help get some more licensed facilities. Now, I don't know anything about work visas, but I do know the conditional use permits inside and out. And there's nothing on the conditional use permit that will keep you from being a family childcare home.
I think that would be a great initiative. I think there's of course, a lack of understanding of this in the Indian community. At least I didn't know these things existed as support structure, and I'm pretty sure, you know, the parents I speak with, and they all have, you know, kids around my kids' age, 2, 3, 4 to 7, 8. And one of the things when we're talking, they're like, oh, my kid doesn't understand this and that, and, you know, our festivals in India. And I try to reason with them that, yes, you know, you would want them to have that, but, you know, you don't want to put undue pressure on them that they just feel like they cannot meet those. So that's helpful to know. Thank you. Thanks for the answers.
I'd like to address Michaela again. Michaela, you're asking about the 16. You can absolutely go in as 16, but I'm going to echo what Rita said. Since 2008, I was licensed for 16. Last year, due to COVID, I dropped to 10, and I made more money and had so much more peace. So if you're just looking at the financial side of it, you're probably going to find that you're going to make more money. If you add the extra 6 kids, you have an extra health department inspection on top of that, just like a restaurant inspection, which, you know, is not terrible, but it can be a little alarming when you're in the middle of cooking and the health department shows up. So I would encourage you, we'll help you either way, but I would encourage you to consider 10 and then grow to 16 if you think you need to. But I think you'll find financially you're better off with 10.
And I will echo into that also, the higher up you go in our quality rating system in Arkansas, the more money per child you will make, and you're eligible for some grants every year and things like that you're not eligible for if you're not in the system. So in the quality rating system. So and with the rates, if the state plan is approved as presented, the rates are going to be as such that if you take any kind of vouchers, you're going to receive, you'll make more money with 10 than you will with 16. Yes. Because you're not paying a second staff member or a third staff member as well.
Right. And I think this is a good time too, to point out that, you know, when we're looking at the financial side of family childcare and the viability of a business during the COVID, height of the COVID pandemic last year, the PPP loans came out, and many of our providers were eligible as a business. I received $20,000 waiting for it to be forgiven, but I have every confidence that it will be. And that's money that I could just put into my operating budget just because I am but you can't do that if you're not regulated. You have to be a regulated, licensed family childcare business. So there are other opportunities out there to increase your income.
And there were also the state grants that we received because we were licensed. I don't know if regulated homes receive those too, or can't think of registered homes receive those
Yes,
or not.
they did.
That was a pretty handy amount of money.
Yeah. Michaela, I would love to, I'm assuming you're in Boonville area?
I'm in Magazine.
Oh, you're in Magazine. I love Magazine. I'd like to come stay at the lodge and meet with you. And we'll talk about what we can do to help you. Rita and I'll come hang out with you, and we'll get you set up, sister.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, we've got time for, say, another question or two if anybody wants to unmute and ask, or if they are you'd prefer, you can drop it in the chat and we will read that happily.
I see there's a comment from the Interpreting Solutions. And yes, I agree. Children that are exposed to language and culture at a young age make much better adults. They do. Their relationships with others is so much better because they have a better understanding. And I think that, you know, not understanding sometimes is what drives a lot of fear. And so I'm all about some experiences and giving children opportunities to have those experiences. So thank you for that comment.
And Morgan, I'd like to point out in our area, there are opportunities for other funding. And Elizabeth probably knows off the top of her head, there's tribal funding available within so many miles that the crow flies. Is that how they say it?
100 miles of Miami. It's not Miami, it's Miami, Oklahoma, as the crow flies. That will bring you all the way down to Van Buren, Arkansas, as the crow flies. And you can receive vouchers for children with Indian cards or numbers. So that's another source of funding. Yes. Alma's out of the loop. So Magazine and Boonville's out of the loop. Alma misses it by 3 miles as the crow flies. So.
Oh man. And it's an excellent funding. I mean,
yes, it is.
They have helped put in a safe room storm shelter for me inside. Lots of materials, a great support. So when we're looking at the funding, you're looking at the income you generate, the reimbursement that Tammy's talking about from the food program, which can run, what did you say, Tammy, 4 to 7?
750 to 900.
Yeah, and that's for 10 children or somewhere in there. Mine was up to 1,400 when I had 16 children. And then there's also the tribal funding. So, and the grants from the state and the PPE. So it's really a great time to be a family childcare provider right now.
In many states, family childcare is the majority. Like in states like Indiana, 3,000 licensed family childcare homes and about 2,000 centers. So in many states, family childcare is the preferred choice for families to have their children in the home setting. So that's also there's some really good statistics around that as well.
Yeah, and
one of the advantages go ahead, Debbie.
If you're an overachiever, Elizabeth and I are running a project for national accreditation right now, getting ready to get the next 10 people together to walk through that. There will be amazing benefits, support that puts you at the top of our nation's childcare providers for providing early education. And we've talked about that people that are just coming in might be able to access that because what better time to teach people the right way than when they're just getting started.
That's exactly
Rita,
right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, having the family childcare network has been such an advantage because a lot of these things I wouldn't have known about before then. Even though I was networked with you and a lot of other people, this huge network we have across the state now in the last couple of years has just been an amazing benefit on every area, mentally, socially, financially, in every way.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Great questions, great conversation. I made a sudden departure at the beginning because while I was sitting in my hot car, I was hot, but my phone also overheated and shut off. So I guess it was really hot in there. But this has been really, really, really educational and inspirational. Again, this is a really important conversation in the context of entrepreneurship, but also in the context of supporting a growing, more equitable workforce. And so on both fronts, it's something that everybody here is very passionate about. And this has been recorded. So after this afternoon or tomorrow morning, you can expect an email from Caleb that includes a link to this recording. As well as the websites of these resource partners who have presented today. Everyone who is on this panel is here because they want to be an advocate and a resource. And so please feel free to reach out and Startup Junkie is here also to be an advocate and a resource and to support you as you consider and then launch and then grow and scale your business, whatever form of business that is. And so please look around this virtual room and consider yourself supported, and don't hesitate to reach out to any of us in any capacity. And thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much, Caleb, for having my back as always. So it's good to have a good team and a good network. So
Yes, it is.
Debbie, Tamara, Elizabeth, Michelle, thank you all so much. You've just really given us some great information, and I really appreciate you making yourselves available in this way.
Thanks, Morgan.
Thank you.
Without early care and education, there is no workforce.
Absolutely.
They can't go to work without us. So
Exactly.
thank you.
Right.
Exactly.
Michelle come up with that sign, essential workers, that we love so much. And so we just thank you all for what you do.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful
Bye.
rest of
Have
your
a good
Thursday.
afternoon.